Howdy and welcome back to the shop. Today I'm going to be working on some duct work, and I've got to build a two-way transition. And you can kind of see on this one up here, I've already got one of them done. I need to build another one that goes on top of my filter box. Okay, so this filter box is 20 inches wide and 25 inches deep, and that needs to tie into a piece of ductwork that is 18 by 20, I believe. I'll have to look. No, 12 by 18. So I've got a 12 by 18 duct that's coming down that needs to tie into this 20 by 25 filter box. So the way that all of this stuff lines up is that back corner, I can make that back corner be square and straight all the way up. So I've got one corner that is going to be square the whole way. And that's really all I have to work with to make a nice looking transition. So back when I was my boy's age, back in the 70s, the catchphrase was, you got to think outside the box. I don't know why everybody said that, but that's what everybody said. Think outside the box. Well, with this, you got to think, you got to be the box. You got to think about the box. You got to think inside the box. So, boy, the glare is bad. Hope you guys can make her out. So here we've got 20 by 25. That represents my filter rack. And 18 by 12, that's the ductwork drop coming out of the ceiling. Like I said, this corner and this corner lines up square. So I use 36-inch sheet metal because I've got a 48-inch brake. And I think I've covered the reasons why when you're cross braking and all that in a different video. For reasons that will become very obvious soon enough, I'm not going to try to make this transition 36 inches tall. I'm only going to make it 30 inches tall, and hope that's good enough. So the first thing I need to do is cut me a blank 30 inches tall. So my big size of this is going to be 20 by 25. So that's 20, 45. And then let's add 4 inches on it to make Pittsburghs and notches with. So that'd be about 49 inches. So I'll get a blank cut and we'll go from there. All right, so I got my blank cut. The next thing we need to do is mark this corner right here, as if we were going to make a stick of two-piece duck. Plus, we're going to add some waste on the edges. So we're going to measure over about 22 inches or 27 inches from the edge, and then put our notches in, and then we'll do some more measuring. Okay, now's the point when high school trigonometry classes are going to start to make some sense to you. So if you didn't take high school trigonometry, then, well, you're probably a millennial or something, and you should just go eat some Tide Pods. So the corresponding side to the 20-inch here is going to be 18 on the ductwork. The corresponding from the 25-inch on the filter rack is going to correspond to the 12. So we're going to call one side our top and one side our bottom. This is the bottom, this is the top. So what we need to do on our blank is we need to decide, okay, this is the top, this is the bottom. And then I'm just going to make marks. So we're going to call this the bottom. And this is going to be, let me think about it. It's hard to do this on camera. Let me think. Okay, I know you can't read my numbers, but this is going to be our square break. This is the only piece of the ductwork that's going to be square in both directions. This edge is going to be square to this corner, and this edge is going to be square in both directions to this corner once we fold this up. So this is 25, this is 20, this is 18, and this is 12. So we're going to take us a square, just because I like using the square because it only reads down to the 1/8 of an inch. And we're going to measure from the crotch of our point, from the very point of our triangles here. And we've got her laid out. That's supposed to be 25 inches. So we're going to measure over. Oh, we're not going to use a square on that one. We're going to use a tape measure and burn 10 inches. But we're still going to we're going to measure from the exact center of that square. So it's 25 and another 10 would be about 35 inches. Double check. Make sure I did that right. Yes, I did. Now we're going to do 20. Same way. Now, while you weren't looking, I went ahead and I copied on the back side my measurements. So 20, 25, 18, 12, 18, 12, 20, 25. This is supposed to be 12. It's supposed to be 18. All right, next thing we need to do, we're going to put Pittsburgh. This is going to be Pittsburgh here and here, so we need an inch allowance for Pittsburgh. So rather than do math, which I can do, but I don't like to because I've only got so much smart making left in me. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect our 3/4 notches. Now, we're going to use an inch thick ruler and we're going to offset that line. And there's our cut line. And I hope this is obvious why I'm doing this way, because if it ain't, well, let me try to explain it. So we need an inch allowance for Pittsburgh. We need an inch allowance for a Pittsburgh because the Pittsburgh machine is going to eat an inch. So our Pittsburgh is going to run this way. So this is at an angle to this measurement. So if you look, get my tape measure held up here. So if we were just notching straight sheet metal, we would notch it at 12 and then 13 inches, and that would give us our Pittsburgh allowance, but this ain't straight. That's about 13 1/4. And like I said, you could do the math, 13 3/16, but it's easier for me to just offset it. I might be a 16th or a 32nd off, one way or the other. That's kind of going to have to be allowable. We're not building a fine Swiss watch, we're building some ductwork. So now before I trim this, okay, we've got a measurement we got to get before we cut this tail off. So what we need to know what this measurement is exactly down that line from here to here the top and the bottom edge of our sheet metal. We need to know what that measurement is going to be. So it looks like we got 33, what's called 33 inches there. Whoops. We've got 30 1/8 there. So now we can do our simmer notches back out. Next thing to do is sit down and figure out and scratch your watch and wind your butt and figure out which way is the inside and which way is the outside and write it down on the metal before you get screwed up. So I'm going to do that. Okay, now it's time to run to Pittsburgh. So we've got our Pittsburgh ran. Now it's time to cross break it and fold it. This is return duct, so we've got to cross break it in instead of cross breaking it out. Now is where that box shaped thinking really comes in. You know, I actually got a degree in mechanical drawing that I got when I was in high school. Thought I was going to be an engineer. Turns out I hate being inside. So that was time well spent. So what we got to do here, if you've ever had some isometric or orthographic projection training, this makes good sense to you. But let's suppose that we're looking at this piece of ductwork this way. It's going to be 20 inches wide there, 18 inches wide there. This is not a square corner and this is not a square corner, but this and this will be a square corner. This piece of ductwork that's sitting out here is going to lean this way. It's going to be this piece here. We measured it earlier, that's 33 inches. So we've got 18 by 20, 33 inches tall. Now, I want to put a quarter turn on this side and a Pittsburgh on this side. So we'll go ahead and get that cut out and get started on that piece. Okay, I know you can't see much of this, but I've got my blank cut out. So this is going to make this piece that goes here. And I know you can't hear me very good because the air conditioner's running. It's hot. But this corner is square. This piece is going to lay like this, and it's going to have that corner cut off of it. I want to put a quarter turn on this side and Pittsburgh on this side, and this is my outside. And I have put all my measurements and marks down on both sides of the sheet metal because I'm old and easily confused. So we're going to put a quarter turn here. So we're going to go 1/4 inch. And then 20 plus a quarter, so 20 1/4. We're going to go a quarter. And 18 plus a quarter, so 18 and a quarter. And we're going to put a Pittsburgh over here, so we need to make us a line. And then an offset. And then a cut line. Now we're going to cut off our meat hooks. Do a quick quantity check. Yep. Yep. All right, time to Pittsburgh this, then I'll cross break it, and we'll be back. All right, so there's the piece we just made. It fits, everything looks about right. I haven't hammered Pittsburgh yet because I don't have no way to hold it. Helper boy is recovering from a grievous running around in the yard with no shoes on him injury. So the next piece we got to build is the corresponding to the side to this one here. This is going to be the easy one. So it's just easy. It's quarter turn on both sides. So I'll get a blank up here, get this one cut out. May not even show much of that one because it's going to be pretty simple. All right then, I reckon it's about time to put everything back together. Got the last piece made here, and let's do some making of noise, which I'm going to hammer this off camera. Nobody likes, if you want to watch me hammer Pittsburghs, then something's wrong with you. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, so I'm going to hammer this up, and then I'll make some S-locks and turn the drive slip, or turn the drives on it, bend up some S-locks, and we'll be back in just a minute. And that's going to fall over. Okay, last thing we need to do before we put this together, or before we put it on where we're going with it, is we need to square this up. With a hand turner. Turner drives. Yeah. So, I'm going to make some drive slips next, and we'll set her over there on the base box and see what she looks like. So there we go with her sitting in there. Now you're just going to have to use your imagination that my straight duct comes down from out of the ceiling and ties into that. And, you know, we've got a nice smooth transition. Air does not like to stretch, nor does it like to be compressed. It's really easy on the return side of stuff to screw it up really bad to where you're blocking off return with bad transitions. One of my pet peeves is not enough return and not enough filter. So this is taking a 20 by 25 filter here. Customer can change it real easy. And, you know, I think she's going to work out pretty good. So in the meanwhile, give me a big like and subscribe and all that stuff, and y'all drive safe and watch for deer.